Hi, Soup Say Cheese. Hi. I think we became friends yesterday. Hi, good evening. I'm just waiting for Surya to join. Oh, hi, Anu. Hey, Manaswini. Let me just check if Surya is here. Oh, no, not yet. Please give me a moment. So we're going to be in conversation today with Supriya Kharath. Hi, Viji. Oh, there she is. Supriya, hang on.
Yeah, it's my mother's really, really old sari, Manaswini.
Hello.
So,
Can you hear me?
feebly.
Now?
Please be loud because every time in the Panjavarnam Silks interviews, I'm literally like this.
Now can you hear me? No?
Not loud enough. Do you want to wear AirPods?
You know, it's not connecting. I've been trying. God knows what happened today, but it's just not connecting.
Okay, give me a moment. Okay, say something.
Hello, namaste.
Namaste, hi. Is everybody else able to hear Supriya?
Not
Manas,
sure.
just
Can
give
you all
a
hear
thumbs
me?
up.
Hello, Lalita. Everybody, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think we can. Oh,
Is it
Dr.
okay?
Erika Patel says she can
Okay,
hear
great.
us. Okay, lovely, Supriya, and welcome to In the Company of the Sari, a series curated by Panjavarnam. Thank you so much.
Thank you for, having me here, and I'm so excited. I don't know what I'm going to
Yay!
talk. Really excited.
That's lovely. For those who don't know, Supriya Kharath, I actually met her during one of our, I think the Dream Runners half marathon or something. Of course, Supriya was far ahead and I was somewhere far behind. And she looked nothing but sweltering and sexy in a tiny pair of shorts. And I looked like frumpy and old. But but what brings us together is our love for the sari, and I think that's a great unifying factor. Supriya is, for those who don't know, a dancer. She's originally from Sholapur in Maharashtra. Incidentally, I have my roots in Maharashtra as well. I spent my childhood in Maharashtra as well. So we'll talk about that, Supriya. So Supriya basically is from Sholapur and she studied at the Kalakshetra and went on to pursue her arts management at the Dakshin Chitra. She's studied Abhinaya under Srimati Indira Kadambi, and she continues to now learn dance from the very amazing couple Ranjit and Vijana. Supriya also has earned many awards and accolades. I'm just going to read out a couple of them. She was known as the Gem of Sholapur and was recognized as the Ranaragini Puraskar from the government of Maharashtra and Maharashtra Police for being the first woman from Sholapur to choose a career in the field of the classical arts. That's fantastic, and we're definitely going to dedicate one section to that. Before moving on to Playfix, the brand that she runs with her husband Rajiv, Supriya was the creative head for Lesage for nearly 10 years, and now she handles the design and aesthetics as well as the social media marketing at Playfix. Playfix, for those who don't know, is a high quality brand that makes clothes for mostly runners, right, Supriya?
Yes. Runners and
Lovely.
athletes who are serious in the sport.
Who are serious, yeah. Surely that I shouldn't be buying Playfix then. Um, Anyways, jokes apart, Supriya, let's start off really by firstly asking you, you're from Sholapur, right? Take us back to your days in Sholapur. What is your, when you think about Sholapur, what is that memory that sort of comes to your mind?
See, as growing up, Solapur, it was a small town. When I was there, it was a small town and more like, farming community was around. And I come from a very small middle class family, right? And my father was working with the state government in the state government. He was working, and mom was at home, like simple background. But my grandmother was into she was more artistic. My mother's mother, she used to make
Mhm.
sculptures, painting for herself, and that came through her to my mother. And I think that's when my mother thought, like, her daughter or her kids should have something connected to the art. And it was
Arts.
not normal at that point to for somebody to go and learn dance. It was not normal. Nobody was doing it. And there were no teachers as well around to teach
Yeah,
classical dance as such. But from somewhere, my mother had seen Vaijayanti Mala performing Bharatanatyam on the screen, of course, on the
right.
TV. So she, if I have a daughter, she had dreamt that, if I have a daughter, I would definitely make her a dancer. So then the
Oh,
first
wow.
child was elder brother. So she was very disappointed that it was not a girl baby.
Yeah, of
So, but
course.
then second, I was the one when I was born. So she thought, maybe she should initiate me into this art form. So I
Right,
started learning Kathak because there was no Bharatanatyam teacher at that point.
right.
So I started learning Kathak. For 5 years, I learned. But, my father was extremely strict, and he had no idea for almost like 3 4 years. He had no idea that I was going for dance classes, because he
Oh,
just wanted my mother to take care of the house and the kids and the studies. There was no, I mean, he had no understanding of art. He was like a government, working 9 to 5 and taking care of the family. So he had no
right.
idea of, art, or the no background as such. And he never liked my mother also doing things at home. He was like, you should be doing things in the kitchen and taking care of the house. He was very strict, right? So my mother, who was excellent in stitching clothes and painting. So whenever he would go out for work, she would be at home secretly doing things and put it, hide it before he comes back, that kind of a,
Wow.
time I was in. And then one day I had participated in dance competition, and it came all in the newspapers. Now, now my father's friends and everybody started congratulating him, saying, oh, your daughter's in the newspaper, your name is there, Supriya Anand Kharat is everywhere. So he kind of felt proud. He came and asked when was it, and we just said, oh yeah, there was one day we went and did this competition and thing. And that's when he realized that, I'm learning
Really
something
serious.
serious. And then he said, okay, you can continue, but you are not compromising on your studies. Studies is important, and he wanted me to become a doctor. So, it was really, for my mother, it was a big struggle for me to take me to classes and, teach. And she always would say, if you want to continue dancing, you have to study really well, because, otherwise Papa would stop whatever I was doing, saying, focus on your studies. Because forget career,
Yeah,
but learning, what are you going to get? And in
correct.
small town, when a girl is learning dance, it's not considered nice. You go
I
for
know,
other
yeah.
things. So it was very difficult. And somehow managed and did 5 years of Kathak. And then unfortunately my Kathak guru passed away, and then I had nobody to go to. So there was one person outskirts of Solapur where we had to travel like 2 hours. And so my mother said, okay, let's move to Bharatanatyam, if not Kathak. Let's try
Okay.
out something. You
Yeah,
can't be
yeah.
just in studies. And then I started my study in Bharatanatyam, which was not really, it was mix of all
Yeah.
semi-classical
Of course, yeah.
Bollywood, whatever. But it was called Bharatanatyam
Some,
then.
yeah.
And in between, when I was going through training and studying and all that, there was one troupe from Kalakshetra had performed in Solapur, and my
Oh,
mother made sure that
when was this,
we,
Supriya?
I think it was in uh, 1992 or 94.
Okay.
So early, I think it was Hari Padman sir's batch.
Right. Okay.
So he remembered that they had come and performed
To
there. So
Sholapur. Oh, wow. Okay.
yes, there was one performance, and we had gone and seen. I don't remember because I was very young, but my mother
Yeah.
had taken address of Kalakshetra. Like, where is this institute, where and what? And then, it was
Correct.
there in my mind that, okay, there's something named Kalakshetra exists somewhere in the world. Now, where it
Right.
is, what, no idea.
No
So there was
idea.
no computers, and, there's no such thing that you could go and explore and
Yeah, yeah.
find out.
Access was very different, right? Yeah.
And I finished my 12th, and I did extremely well, and did my medical exam entrance. And my father said, okay, you are going to become a doctor. I would do anything, I will get loans and things, because you're from a small family, so you have to think all
Yeah.
that. And you are,
Correct.
because
Of
there's no
course.
doctor in the family, and you are going to become. And that's when, in that time, my mother, myself, and my brother, we had gone to a net cafe, searched on the internet where Kalakshetra is, what it is, and applied for the interview. That's in 2004 we applied, and 2005 was the interview. And they called me for the interview, and now how do I convince my father? And it was like a big task. And he said, no way, what are you going to do learning dance? I mean, it has nothing. You will become a doctor, there's no question. And I said, let me just go for the interview. Even if I don't get it, I will continue what you're telling me to do.
Supriya, this reminds me of that scene from DDLJ where Kajol is like, please, मुझे अपनी जिंदगी जीने दो. It's literally like that. I was just thinking, yeah.
So I was just begging him, let me just go. You come with me for the interview. If I don't get, I don't know I would get in or no, but you just come with me. So he kind of
Right.
agreed. He thought, okay, where this, small town girl who has no understanding, and also I studied in Marathi medium school. So English was a big subject
Yeah.
for me to learn. And so I had
Correct.
actually, um, mugged up some questions. They may ask me this, they may ask me that. So actually it was like a mugged up questions. I was
In
preparing for
English.
my
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
English. So somehow I reached here in Kalakshetra, and it was, I think, interview was at 11 o'clock. I remember I came with my father, mother, and and I reached there by 8:15 in the campus. And when I entered, that space is amazing. It's so magical. I don't know whom I told or what. I just said, I do not want to go back. No matter what, even if they give me a job of sweeping here, I'm ready to do, but I want to be here in this space, right? And I reached there very early. So there was ladies who put in column, and there was the staff who said, okay, you come so early, there's nobody. 11 o'clock interview, you have. So I said, no, I don't know where else to go, I just come here. So she said, okay, you wait here. And then in half an hour or something, a lady walks in with a beautiful sari with the bun and thing. And I said, okay, namaste. And she said, okay, you have come for the interview? I said, yes, I came from Solapur, and come. And I was calling her ma'am. And she said, ma'am, don't call me ma'am, call me Akka. And then I was really like, looking at that person and thinking, I have seen her somewhere. I have seen her, not able to understand who that person was. And the interview then started. My number alphabetically was, I think, somewhere really behind, with starting with K. But the registrar said, people, as in when they walked in, that's how we
First come
start our
first.
interview. So she said, okay, the girl who had come first, I want her to come first. So I was like really scared, I thought I will ask somebody what do they ask inside and how the interview is. But then somehow I went, interview was done, and my mom said, did you notice who was that ma'am who came and spoke to you and took your interview? I said, I've seen her somewhere. She said, there's a poster in my house from the time I grew up. My mother had found it in the magazine. It was Leela Akka's picture, and it was on my cupboard throughout. And she said, that's the man, you met and you saw. And I was like, oh my God, the person whom I've been seeing, throughout my
Wow.
life. And that was Viva Akka's first batch in 2004. when she joined
Oh,
as a director of Kalakshetra. And that was
fantastic.
the first person, I met. And that's when the Kalakshetra journey started. Yeah.
Lovely. And then like somebody reminded me, did your father say Ja Simran, ji le apni zindagi?
It was, when the interview results came, we came back after the interview. I did not know. Then father said, no way you're going to get in. And, start preparing for what needs to be done. In Pune, I was supposed to get my admission for medical. And then somehow the interview results came, and it was a big drama in the house. And I said, if I become a doctor, it will be for you. And if I go to Kalakshetra, I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but I just want to go there. There is something about that place. I want to be there. So finally, because only daughter in the house, and everybody, all the neighbors around, they were like, why are you sending your daughter far away, where culture is different, we don't know the language, we don't know anybody, we knew no one here, right? So they were really scared, basically. So, but somehow, I begged and begged and begged, and I said, I'm not going to do anything, but just let me go there. And then landed here in Chennai.
Wow, that sounds fabulous. That's really a story of, really like perseverance, right? Supriya, just to kind of, so, I mean, when you look back, is it like your passion for dance that really like, kind of, or was it Kalakshetra per se? And that kind of manifested as your passion for dance later.
I was there, I was learning Kathak and Bharatanatyam, but somewhere I knew that it's not original. For what sense, I did not know,
Yeah,
but something felt that,
yeah.
it's not right,
Authentic.
right?
Yeah.
Authentic, it wasn't. And, I was wondering, like, the filmy moves when it comes in. And I was like, no, it can't be like that. What you have seen on Doordarshan, there used to be some dance shows. And it's like, what I do and what they are doing, it's completely different, right? And so in between, I used to
Sorry. I think our screen's frozen. Sorry, I lost you for a bit. Yeah.
Yes. So yes, the thing is, I used to perform Lavani, folk performances, ritual performances, and also a lot of theater. As so, my mother was, not just dancing. She taught painting at home, but she wanted me to be on stage, like giving speeches or like doing mono acting. She was always like and the character she would give me about like freedom fighter women or women who has come from small village, and when she enters the city, how her feel would be. It was women oriented characters. So that's when I started wearing saris. At I think when I was 4 years old, I wore my first sari, which was like a bridal sari for a mono act.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's when the
Wow.
connection with sari, and always felt the sari has to do with something powerful women, right? And it's because of the
Right.
characters
Yeah.
gave me like Ahilya Bai Holkar, Savitri Bai Phule, all these social workers and wonderful women, and who are all in saris. So it always made me feel like it's something important. When you do something important, you are in sari, right? So that kind of
Right.
connection.
Supriya, I'm going to interrupt you at this point, and I'm going to ask you that I've always noticed that, of course, mothers, needless to say, are, what would anybody do without mothers, right? Supportive mothers. But also mothers, especially for dancers. I mean, they literally like, they help them like identify their dream, pursue it, be passionate about it, stay on with them through their performance career. Is your mother like super proud of you, Supriya, for like having kind of persevered and sort of achieved your dream?
She's happy with what I'm doing, but she's like a critic, I would say. She doesn't really praise me. She doesn't really say that you're doing great. She always say, what are you doing next? Okay, have you done your practice? Even till date, she would ask me, okay, you're doing this, doing that, but where with dance? What is happening with this? Are you doing? So she is proud. She feels when she's talking to others, I know that she's, talking good about me and feel happy about it.
Right.
But when it comes to me directly telling, she would always say, okay, now what next? That is her question.
Right.
But
Right.
father is still proud. He had not
He is?
expected me. yeah. So he had not expected, and when he saw me, first time performing on Kalakshetra Kutambalam, he was in tears, and that was
Like,
like, that
wow.
whatever she decided, she did it. Kind of, he felt really happy.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Supriya, can you talk about, I'm just curious about, you talked about the sari and how, but you also have, your identity as a dancer, but you also have another role as an entrepreneur, right? You are, how do you kind of when somebody asks you, who are you? Would you say you're a dancer, or would you say I'm a dancer and an entrepreneur? Somehow I noticed that those who are dancers, dance becomes such an integral part of their very identity. And would you agree with that?
Definitely, I would agree, because whatever I do, it's because of my dance training in Kalakshetra. I give the entire credit to the teachers and the institute itself. That space has given me the identity. So I never tell that, I'm a creative head of this, I'm a creative head of that, and I'm taking care of, our activewear brand. But I only tell, Supriya as a dancer. I mean, many people do not know what else I do, and I don't make an effort to tell them. I feel, it's not important. It's something I do it, but then what is important for me, it's this dance which is really close, and that's what has got me here. So for me, I always tell whoever I meet that yes, I'm a dancer.
Right. So, Supriya, now you've spent 2004 to 20 in Chennai. What is your connection relationship with this city? Have you become familiar with the language, with the context, with the culture, with the people?
Definitely, because when you are in Kalakshetra, you adapt everything, you absorb everything which that place has to give you. So the language was new, Tamil. So everybody was talking Tamil, and we had a subject to learn as well, like reading and writing. So you learn, and it was difficult, but I have a knack of learning language. I love learning different languages to understand.
Oh,
So I kind of picked up Tamil, and earlier it was Kannada, because Solapur is Karnataka border.
yeah.
So I knew a little bit of Kannada, but then I forgot after coming here, only talking in Tamil. And then because there were so many Malayalis around in Kalakshetra,
Yeah, of course.
then you picked up that
Kalakshatra is
language.
mini, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I've learned those languages, and everything you love, which is dance, which is culture and people, they're all here. The teachers you connect with, the space you connect with, everything is here. So for me, it is a home. Every time I go back to Solapur, because I came when I was 17, 18, I was when I left Solapur, and now here. So most of my time where I really understood what it means to be you is here in this city, and the city has given that, and accepted me as well, right? Because I was open to learn whatever came. I don't ask question when it comes to learning. I just absorb, and I think that has made the city home. So I don't feel differently. In fact, when I go to Solapur, it's maximum 3 days or 4 days, and I want to come back here.
Wow. Lovely. Supriya, you were also you were also awarded, in Sholapur for becoming the first woman to pursue the classical arts in Sholapur, right? What does it feel like to be a girl from a small town who becomes a role model of sorts and therefore inspires so many other people who live in that town to really dream big and to believe that if you really believe in something, then you can really make those dreams happen, right? What is it like? How does it feel? It's like, is it like a story of with great power comes great responsibility? Because you also have to kind of live up to that, right? Like you've kind of left and you've come and you've built yourself a career and you have to kind of pursue it to keep inspiring people. What has it been like?
For me, it was only when I came, there was nobody to guide me, and it was like everything was dark, and I'm just finding my way out. I did not know what I was going into. Even when I started studying, when I finished Kalakshetra, you were clueless. Kalakshetra is a beautiful place, but it's a bubble, right? When you come
Yeah.
out of it, what
Yeah,
do
it's
you do with your
another
dance?
world, right?
What do you do with your dance? How do you survive? And when you do not have a financial support from your family, right? Family could do only
Correct.
this much, and they you come back and you start your classes or do something. And there were so many people I know in the Marathi film industry who were
Yeah.
expecting me to come back and join movies, which I mean, nothing against it, but I could never see myself doing that. For me, stage was the space I wanted to be and learn, more than
Right.
just there, just learn and learn. And,
Right.
that's when I finished, I did not know what to do. And it was Leela Akka whom I went to. She was the director, and I said, Akka, I have finished my studies, and now either to pursue pursue dance further studies, or what do I do? So she that time said, you dancers have so much of capacity to do so many different things, and it doesn't have to be only on stage. There are so many things in the world. You can do it, and I can see it because she had seen me in college helping with the costume and theater. And so she said, there are so many things you can do, so why don't you think of doing this arts management and culture studies, and which would really open up different doors for you. And that's when I did this course and decided, like, what where I want to do. And when I was doing all this, there were very few people to guide me in a right direction. So when I look back, people from Solapur, they're still unaware, the young girls who really want to unaware. And I thought, okay, if I could be little help, because I have traveled this path, I could just be little
Absolutely.
help and give them the clear idea. After all, they have to do the, decision
Of course,
making.
the hard work has to be done by them.
But just to give them clear picture, if you do this, this is what is may happen, this is what may happen, just to give them that clear picture. I'm there even till date. I make sure I'm guiding them in the right direction, and not giving them like a bubble that oh, it's a beautiful field and you come. It's a hard work after all, right? Each
Yeah,
one have
of
to
course.
find their way and pace. So I make sure I'm there to just give them the clear picture, and decide, let them decide what they want to do for them, just to clear that cloud.
Right, right. Supriya, I know now that you're pursuing dance with Ranjit and Vijana, right? I want to know, as a dancer, what is it that you want to kind of do with your dance? Do you want to become an active performer, or do you learn dance for the joy that it brings, or do you want to learn dance because you want to learn it more? Like, what is what is like
Even
being a student of dance like, and being a student of dance with Ranjit and Vijana like?
yes. So when I finished after finishing Kalakshetra, I started arts management and culture study. Even then, dance is always on back of your mind, because you're here because the city is filled with so much of knowledge, and you cannot be in the city and let it go waste. So for me, the connection with the dance is what was more important for me to do other things. So after finishing Kalakshetra, I was studying under Tangamani teacher, who was one of the senior teachers at Kalakshetra.
Nakshatra.
And after her, and then Indira Akka, I was learning Abhinaya from her. And when Indira Akka moved to Bangalore,
Bangalore.
and I had started my studies under Ranjit and Vishna. Reason being, for me, dancing, it doesn't have to be a performance for performance, but it just connects me to why I have come here for. It reminds me of my passion, or that me from that small town have come for this. Okay, but it has led me to do all this, but I do not want to forget that person and that teaching. And the dance, it's apart from performing, it's beautiful. I make an effort to perform once a year, for limited audience. I just do that one performance, but throughout the practice with Ranjit and Vishna, it's absolutely beautiful, because both of them are such wonderful performers. But it's very rare for the performer to be a good teacher. And the feeling I get when I enter the class is the same feeling when Tangamani teacher's class I'm entering. I used to get one funny feeling in my stomach, like little fear, but want to do it. The same feeling I get with, when Ranjit the Anna's taking class, or Vijna's there, the same feeling, because they are perfectionists and they want things to be perfect, not like copies, but they want to bring out you. And they're wonderful friends. they know me really well, and that bond we share is really special. So I think it becomes like you cannot be without them or without their classes. It has to be there in your life.
Right. Supriya, what is your, take on, social media is like buzzing, right? With like performances and talks and conversations. Have you been participating in like listening to them or performing? What is your take on the overall? Or are you one of those dancers who likes to be quiet and look within and focus more inward? Are you one of those?
No, I mean, I do enjoy, people now the pandemic is such that people are struggling with so many different issues. Everyone is struggling. But I find it very interesting when, people are making an effort to bring kind of positivity, kind of, little change. And that is making difference, even not for the whole world, but that little group of people are
Yeah, yeah,
finding joy,
absolutely.
and it's done with so much honesty, right? People are putting effort, so I really appreciate that. And I have watched your interviews. I've not missed none of your
Oh,
interviews.
thank you.
So I have watched them, and many performers, young performers, are coming up and doing in whatever little space they find and want to express,
Right.
and they're coming. And that is courageous, and it's nice. So I enjoyed it,
Yeah.
watching and listening to
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, that's very heartening, Supriya. I love the fact that you talked about the intent with which it's being done, and there's a certain honesty and just the need to kind of share that joy with,
Yes.
like, even if it's a real, even if it's like just five, six people, right?
True. And after all, why are we doing anything that we do, right? It is little happiness to yourself, the people who you love, or, the community whom you love to. So whatever you are doing, it has to bring, even if it's a one person, I would say, and if you think you want to do
Correct.
something, just go ahead and do it and forget what others are talking,
Others have
others
to
are
say
saying.
about it.
Yeah.
Right. Supriya, I know you're married to a Malayali. So do you
Yes.
speak Malayalam now?
Because
No,
Rajiv
right? Okay.
himself doesn't speak Malayalam. So we
Oh,
talk in,
in English?
so I mean, yeah, in English.
Okay.
So
Supriya, I'm
partner.
curious about how, like, I'm always so excited about, cross-cultural marriages. And I'm curious about how you have, you're born and raised in a small town. And I'm sure, like, you grew up with, a lot of, traditions and culture sort of ingrained in the way you were raised. And you're married to a Malayali. So I want to know, like, how are you holding on to the culture that you were raised in? And how have you also adopted into, I know Onam is around the corner. So I want to know, like, what plans and how do you kind of like, um, sort of not lose out on both cultures and create, and why do you think culture itself is really so important, right? Why is it that we must continue to hold on to our culture in whatever way that we can?
See, our identities are based on the history we are connected with, our culture, right? So we cannot do anything cutting that cord, right? We have to be rooted, whatever we do. So now, for 10 years when I was working with Lesage, I was not working with any Indian company. It was all global, it was all international, it was so you cannot, though you are rooted with your culture, but your ideas has to be open. You need to understand and
Absolutely.
accept people with whatever background they come from. So that comes only when you meet people, when you go out and you travel, so that kind of things have taught me to accept whoever that person is from whatever background, to accept them as they are, right? Because it doesn't matter at the end, we are trying to achieve a certain goal or something together. So it better we respect each other, their culture or tradition. So when I met Rajiv, I think I had no idea he was Malayali, because we only spoke in English. And I met him through, Mr. Lesage, and he
Okay.
introduced me to Rajiv. They knew each other for 25 years. From the time Mr. Lesage came to Chennai, he knew
Mhm.
Rajiv, and he told me, what we do in embroidery, the high quality, the work he does in apparel. So, that kind of raises
Set the
the
bar.
bar. set the bar, saying, okay, I mean, somebody who understand quality and who is trying to make things in India with that precision, because in India it's very difficult to make people understand the value of real good products. It's extremely difficult. And same thing with our handloom saris, right? So it is very difficult to convince, and that path is a difficult path. And someone who's traveling that path, for me, I have great respect for them. And that's how, I met him, and connected, because he was in the apparel, I'm in the design, so it kind of, we had the same language to share.
Yeah.
And the second thing, he's extremely fit, and fitness is part of his life, and for me as well, it's very important. So those kind of things were connected us. And it didn't
Right.
really matter whether it was Malayali or Marathi. It didn't really strike until
Absolutely.
the day we decided to get married. We were like, okay, now what kind of wedding we are gonna do? Because it is Marathi and it is the Malayali.
Right.
But then I love the simplicity of the Malayali wedding.
Yeah,
And
beautiful.
I thought, that it's very short, and I thought, okay, I think we should do it this way instead of doing grand Marathi wedding.
Yeah.
So, and the family was extremely happy, because they were already thinking, now this girl is gone mad and she's never going to get married, because I was really workaholic and focused on my work, and the marriage was never in the picture. You
Picture.
are independent, you have lived alone, and you're doing things on your own. You feel like
Yeah.
there's no need of doing it unless you meet someone who shares the same passion, same
Yeah.
interest, right? So my parents had given up on me, so they were extremely happy. They're like, no
When you said
matter,
you'd get married.
yeah. So whatever it is, you get married, we'll be there.
This was last year, right, Supriya?
Yes, in November. Yeah.
Last year in November. Wow. Supriya, I asked this question to almost all my, guests as in this series. And I often talk about how, I wonder, we're all such lovers and wearers of the sari, right? Like I'm wearing this sari, which is an old Kanjivaram sari that has been worn and worn by my mother, my grandmother, I think my grandmother, then my mother, several of her friends. I remember when we lived in Maharashtra, like, my mother's friends, those aunties would be like, this is such a stunning, such a classic yellow, right? And they've borrowed it and worn it. And it's really a sari that's become so soft. And it's probably the second time I'm wearing it today. But I think that, and I want to talk to you about your sari as well. But the question I wanted to ask you was, but even though we wear the sari and we're so connected with our roots and culture, we're also extremely, I would like to think, women, contemporary women, right? We're not, we're accepting people for who they are. We're modern women, right? So I want you to talk about how the sari is a garment that has traversed through time, but it's also a garment that is essentially moving forward, right? And moving forward by people who are actually progressive women like us, I would like to think. So could you talk about how the sari is not limiting in that sense?
See, as I've told, there are only great things by great women done in saris. I'm not saying, other clothes are not important or people don't do wonderful things in those clothes. It's not that, but, my idea was always that, people can, my grandmother, my mother, and, you see Leelaka, you see wonderful dancers. There's so many women out in the society. Nothing has stopped them by doing what they're doing just because of the sari. So sari is part of the tradition. We carry it forward with the pride, but it is not limiting any of our actions. In fact, I would like to, think about when I was studying. Leelaka used to travel from her house to Kalakshetra campus on bicycle in a sari. So, people have done so many things and continue doing things in sari. So it's really wonderful, and I don't think so it is limiting us in any which way,
Right.
doing what
Absolutely.
because start thinking, after all, right? What we wear,
Yeah.
it's secondary. It's our thinking, and in the people whom we connect, whom we share. It's about the surroundings.
Right. So Supriya, now I want you to talk to me about this gorgeous Banarasi sari that you're wearing. I'm going to
So
turn
this
off
is
comments for just a second so people can
definitely.
see your sari अच्छे से. हाँ. Now tell us.
Yeah, so this is a beautiful Banarasi,
Oh,
and it is
stunning.
the pallu.
Wow, very
It is
beautiful.
almost like 50 plus years old, given to me my one of my aunts to my mom. And luckily,
Okay.
my mother had this habit of cutting it and making it into my dance costume or pavade or something. Luckily, she had not done anything with this. And I said,
Thank God.
thank God. So, I have it and I kept it properly, and it's beautiful, and it's the zari has become black because it has a silver, real silver in it, and extremely heavy to wear. But it's a beautiful piece of art, so I really treasure it. And I thought, okay, it's a special day with you, so I must wear this one.
Yeah, lovely. That's such a beautiful. Supriya, you've also worked in design and aesthetics, right? So you have a keen understanding of design, So I'm curious about how you choose and pick your sari.
For me, it takes maximum 2 to 3 minutes to choose a sari. I go to a store, I just scan. I don't let them show me anything that is there. I just scan everything, and I know I pick like two things from it, and I said, okay, I want this. I don't know how, but I think because of the study, because of the people you have seen, you know how the colors go well. And for me, I think I'm like a canvas, and I can experiment on myself with,
Yeah, that's such an
different
interesting
things.
metaphor. Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, it's like, okay, what would look nice, what would go well. And immediately when I see a sari, I know which blouse I can connect with, what jewelry, in that 2 minutes, I know. You wouldn't believe my wedding sari I chose in 3 minutes. Yeah,
Lovely.
so
What
it
was it?
doesn't take time. Kanjivaram for the main ceremony, and later I wore Banarasi again, Katan Banarasi.
Lovely. Super. So, are you, Supriya, this is something that I think about myself. I've created for myself a certain type of like saris that I wear, and I'm not usually very like experimental. I wear a certain kind of saris, and I kind of within that framework, I stick with that. I'm curious about you. Are you like experimental with your saris? Like, would you do you wear georgettes and chiffons? Are you experimental, or do you have this like I see you, and I have this certain like a look of Supriya. That's the if I close my eyes and think about Supriya Kharat, then this is the look that comes to me. So, right? You're not like, doing different things, but I'm curious about like, is there a conscious kind of an identity that we create for ourselves? And do we experiment within it?
So for me, exploring, because you are in the fabric, textile, design, and art. For me, I have good understanding of fabrics, and
Okay.
the processes it goes through, and mainly because I worked with the artisans mainly
Right.
closely. So for me, it's the respect for them, what they do, how they
Right.
do it. So for me, I experiment with the textures of and the weaving process, and I like to try different weaves of India because we have so much in our country,
Oh my
so
God.
much.
Yeah.
So then,
Really.
you try to understand. And, it just happened that, I had 5 years ago, I had joined a Facebook group called Sari Speak. And it kind
Okay.
of, made me like, so the group was about sari. So you wear a sari and you talk about a little bit about sari, you write about it. And that kind of, it's such a positive group of women who are from different type of, fields. And we just make an effort whenever you're wearing a sari, you do little research, you find out what it is if you do not know, and then you write about it so that others also are aware of it. And that kind of made me document what I have, because earlier I may have liked something and not known what it is, from which region it has come.
Right.
But I kind of like put that thought in my mind that, okay, no, I need to share it with my sari sakhis. They need to know what it is, what I'm wearing, they need the source. So you do the research for them, and you share it out, and I said, okay, listen, I think you can go and try out this. So that's how I
Wow.
started
I
writing
learned a new
sari.
word today. Sari Sakhi.
Yes.
You're my Sari Sakhi, Supriya.
Yeah. So we
Okay.
call
But Yeah, that's so beautiful. Yeah. Supriya, for those who don't know, so if you were to go running in the morning, you'll find Supriya in like looking absolutely glamorous in a pair of shorts and unrecognizable in a certain way. So Supriya, talk to us about how running happened in your life, and what's the role of fitness, especially for a dancer?
See, till the time I met Rajiv, I had no idea about running world, right?
Okay.
I was more into yoga and dancing, and you have been taught running is bad for your knees, so do
Knees.
not do
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So that's what people told you, and you kind of believed it and never even tried. And I'm the last person, I would say, 4 years ago, if you asked me to go outdoor and do something, some activity, because I was really scared. What if I fall down? Something happened to my leg. How will I dance? Those kind of questions. So, but when I met Rajiv, he's very particular about his fitness and extremely disciplined. And he was participating in marathons. And I used to go with him and cheer him when he's running and come back and sleep. And one day I was coming back from work and he said, I called him, where are you? He said, I'm here to collect my bib. It was DRHM marathon 4 years ago.
Right.
And I said,
Right.
what bib? And he said, no, before going for the marathon, which is tomorrow, I need to, collect the number,
Collect
which
my
I'm
bib.
going to collect. I said, okay, I'll come and see you there. So I went there and there was a, spot registration thing. The booth
Yeah,
was there.
I know. Yeah.
He said, would you want to register? And I said, me running? No way, I can't. And he said, I think with your fitness and your dancing and yoga, I'm sure you can. Try it. If you cannot, just, it's okay if you cannot.
Drop out.
And that's how
Yeah.
I registered the previous day on Saturday. Next day is the marathon, and Rajiv was doing his half marathon, I guess. And so I went early at 3:30 in the morning along with him because I was doing 10K. And I'm looking around, and there was so much of positivity. Every age, people from every age was, doing kind of workout, warm up, and I had no idea what to do. So I just started warming up and started the marathon. And without stopping, I finished 10K, thinking, how everybody around me is, running, and why cannot I? Because there were elderly people, there were, younger people who were running, and I somehow finished the marathon without stopping. Into it kind of gave me like a surprise, saying, how did I do it? And then apparently I did a good timing for the first one. It was 1 hour 20 minutes or something. And Rajiv said, it's really good. And the entire running group of like, the people came, and she's like, oh my God, she ran for the first time so well. That kind of really like,
Yeah. Gave you
encouraged me.
this.
Yeah, and the next day I said, okay, I'm coming with you for the training runs henceforth. And that's how, I started running. And then, of course, when you do running, it's just not the running. Then you would start thinking about every muscle and how it's working, where you need to stop. So with dance, it comes like, you're doing things, but you're not really thinking about your body. It's not
Yeah.
being taught,
Yeah. That awareness
right?
is.
That when it's there, where the lines are, where I should be, but then internally what is happening when you are tired, when you need to rest. That sports has taught me, I would say, in
Absolutely.
this. And it has so much of discipline, right? Certain amount of sleep you require to be, and you
Recovery.
don't want, yes, and you don't want to run. You have your entire day for work, and then you have dance class. You don't want to be dead in every your day-to-day activity. You want to
Yeah.
feel alive and energetic. So for that, you need to eat good food, sleep well, and do certain things to make sure your body is fit, right? To work on certain muscles, to bring that energy you require wherever is lacking. So that discipline, I think, only came because of running, and thanks to Rajiv, because he kind of like, he's extremely disciplined. So that helps me to make sure that
Correct.
I am following, even the kind of food we eat at home. It makes sure there's not much of oil. I mean, we love eating, we enjoy food whichever country we go. I mean, there's no stop, we enjoy, but we know, where to
In
stop, how
moderation.
much to eat. Yeah. So yoga is part of life, 3 days a week, both of us, we join now online. So we do that online yoga and running and dancing. So yes, fitness is extremely important, because whatever we do at the end, if we are not fit physically as well as mentally, we cannot put our 100% in anything. And I'm the kind of person, when you're doing something, you need to be focused. You can't be thinking about your health and, small aches and pains, and your mind is not there at
Yeah.
night. So you need to take care of your body. And all the friends, I push them. Actually, they must be hating me for doing this. I'm sure there are many of them. Like, I tell them, why aren't you doing this? Just go, start running, do this. I kind of, give them little training programs,
No, yeah,
you know
absolutely, absolutely.
because it's important for me. It's important when you take care of your body. It's really, it talks about the person, and we need to be disciplined. Yeah, so
Right. I just want to ask you one final question, Supriya, is that, by chance, are your parents watching this Instagram live?
can't hear you. Can't hear you. Did you say?
Oh, no, no
Can
problem.
you?
I said, by chance, is your mother watching the Instagram live?
I'm not sure. I told her, but she's not really tech savvy, and brother is not at home, so I don't think so she would.
Okay,
But then,
okay, no problem. Supriya, you're also somebody who's always like every time that I have met you, and I know that the last we met was at the visa office, right? When I think you were
Yes.
headed to Amsterdam and I was going to Paris. So you're always radiating positivity. So I want to know from you, Supriya, somebody who juggles many things, how important, especially now, everybody's talking about it, the need for self-care and mental health. Why is that really important?
See, as I said, whatever we do, anything we're doing in life, it's for our personal peace, little happiness for us, the people who we live with, and people who are connected with. And when we have that understanding that whatever we are going to do, it's going to affect first yourself and the people around you. So it's kind of a responsibility. When you take it in a positive sense, everything, falls in place. And I normally not, I don't think so much about tomorrow. For me, today I'm here, and I want to make the most of it. Even when I get up, I want to dress up every day, every
Supriya, do you
day.
just want to check your connection? I seem to have your screen seems to have become blurred. Can you just check your connection for just a second? Do you want to just change from Wi-Fi to data or something?
Yeah, I just did that. I just connected it to data now. Let's see. Now it's okay. Can you see?
Not really, yaar. You're completely blurred actually now. Is everybody else able to see her, or
No?
is it only if it's just my problem, then I can just like listen to her? It's all
Oh,
right. Can somebody just let us know her screen has completely gone blurred for me? You mean you can't see her, right? It's blurred. Yeah, it's blurred. No, it's blurred, Supriya, but go ahead because sometimes what happens is it clears automatically.
right. Yeah,
It's a
so
network issue,
I
perhaps. Yeah.
oh, not sure what is it. It's showing me perfectly fine here, but it's not performing well.
Hi, Kavya, by the way. Hi. Supriya, don't worry about it. We'll just listen to you, and then because we're almost like we will get
Yeah, so
disconnected in
I was
5 minutes. So
every day for me, it's for me to do something nice and new, and I make sure that every day I'm dressing up. It starts with dressing up nicely to make sure whatever you are going through, there is stress, there are tensions. All of us go through with different things, but when I get up, when I dress up, put my kajal, wear, the nice clothes, I know things are going to be fine, right? And I always think, what if the next moment I'm not there? That is always, the thought in my head. Even if I'm driving, I want to be dressed well because I think, what if I'm dead? I want to look nice when I'm dying.
Wow. That's an interesting thought, though.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that I'm wearing the best sari. If I bought something, I don't keep it in the cupboard.
Supriya, I'm just going to reconnect. Just give me a second. I'm going to reconnect because you're completely blurred. Just give me a minute. I will reconnect. Sorry, guys. Just log back in. We'll just wind up in like 5 minutes.